Hello, my friends. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Move Ahead with Dalia. Welcome back. So today I am going to do another recap podcast. A few weeks ago, I did a recap of the first 7 episodes of Move Ahead with Dalia. And today I'm going to wrap up the eighth episode to the 15th to share some information about the guests that were on, their organizations, and to hopefully give you some more details so you can go back and take a listen to any of those podcasts. The first one I want to talk about was episode 8, and that one, my guest was Robert Padron. He is a top producing real estate broker in Chicago, and he's the broker owner of Remax Cityview, the office that I work in. And Robert talked a lot about advice he wanted to give to entrepreneurs, to buyers and sellers about the market, things that had to do with, keeping our business moving. It was really insightful. But also, he shared some personal information about his family, about his parents, his beautiful mom and dad. And he shared information about the impact that his parents made on him growing up. It was very touching, and I learned a lot about Robert during that podcast. I wanted to say thank you to Robert and Ramina for everything that you've done to help improve my business as a Remax agent. But also, I wanted to thank Robert for coming on the podcast to share all the insightful information that he had. One thing that stood with me after the podcast that we had was him talking about adapting to changes, whether it's in business or in life, and how important it is to plan, to adapt so that we can get through these difficult challenges, because there are always going to be ups and downs, whether it's in our businesses or in our personal lives. So yeah, I thought a lot of the advice Robert gave, especially for sellers and buyers, was really great. And thank you, Robert, for all you do and for coming on the podcast. So that was episode 8. Episode 9, I spoke with Mariel Corona, the senior manager of Cara Connects. And I learned how Cara Connects, they have an impressive record of connecting quality workers with quality jobs. They offer training, coaching, skill building, and access to resources to help participants increase their employability. It was really great information from Mariel. I mentioned that I personally know someone in my family that went through the Cara Connects program, and how it really helped him get to the other side of his challenges. And he's doing wonderful. So I'm so grateful to Mariel and their staff for that, but also for all that they're doing for the community. They're a wonderful organization. They're dedicated to helping, companies fill their roles with qualified and motivated talent. So I was excited to share all that Cara Connects does, their mission of improving communities through sustainable employment. And thank you, Mariel, for coming on the show and giving us all those great details about the organization. And I hope to have you back on the show soon to get into more details about maybe some of the stories. I'd love to hear some more stories of the things that they're doing. That was episode 9. I also wanted to mention that Cara Connects has an event coming up on June 22nd at the City Winery. I found it on their Facebook page. It's called Conversations with Cara. It's presented by Aon. And you could find details at their website, caracollective.org, or on their Facebook page, Cara Chicago. So thank you again, Mariel. So on episode 10, I enjoyed the beautiful music of the Quatro. And my guest was Orlando Rivera from the CCO project. Orlando is the executive director and co-founder. He founded the CCO, the Chicago Quatro Orchestra, with his brother, David. Orlando and his brother, they're wonderful. They're teachers of music, lovers of music. They're just, the episode was amazing. It was magical to me. We started the show with Orlando playing the cuatro. I know it pulled in so many people to listen to it because I did hear back from many people telling me what an amazing episode that was, to listen to him playing live. It was beautiful. So I also mentioned in the episode that my son, Quentin, learned Spanish guitar through the CCO project when he was very young. And he did 2 years of their program. He learned a lot about the Spanish guitar. He learned a lot of beautiful music. So again, thank you, Orlando and David, for all that you're doing for the community to bring this incredible music to everyone. Also, they not only teach the cuatro, they also teach Spanish guitar, among other instruments. So right now, they just finished up their cuatro classes in Humboldt Park. And in May, I believe, the end of May, or just maybe just this past week. And I know that they will start up again in the fall. So I would suggest that if you're interested, that you follow them on Facebook, the CCO Project, to find out more about their classes. They're such wonderful people. And they do several performances during the year. Take a listen to that podcast. It was episode 10. One other thing that Orlando talked about was the history of the music, of the cuatro music. He talked about Puerto Rico. He talked about his background. There was just an incredible and, like I said, magical time. I loved when I actually listened to the podcast right afterwards. I was so happy with Orlando's information and his background. So thank you, Orlando, for coming on the podcast. That was episode 10. Take a listen. So on episode 11, I spoke about using your full capacity. So I took the time, not to bring a guest this time, but just to share some of the tools that I use to stay on track with my goals in business and in my personal life. And I mentioned, like, I use the Clever Fox Planner, which is a really great book planner that I love. I use it every day, and that I journal. I do a lot of journaling, not on a computer, handwritten journals, once a week, maybe twice a week, but it really does help me reflect on what's going on in my life and my business, and keeps me on track as well. So I would love if you listen to that, because I want to share what things that I'm doing to stay on top of my business and in my personal life. But I also hope that you can take away from that podcast something that will help you, if you feel you need it, to help improve day to day. I talk about, how important it is to stick to healthy habits. There was just a really good amount of information that I feel can really do you well personally and professionally. So that episode was episode 11. And on episode 12, I had Mireya Almaraz, the recruitment coordinator at Casa Central. And Casa Central is a nonprofit organization that's been in Chicago for decades. We did the majority of the show in Spanish, which was the only one I've done in Spanish. I know I will do this again soon. And we talked about the home care services that Casa Central offers, but We also talked about their adult wellness center, which I didn't even know they have in the building. Again, they're in the Humboldt Park community. They offer meals, fun game rooms, music rooms, and so many activities for the elderly that can come in and out of Casa Central. I would recommend, if you have family that is elderly and you feel like they need some activities, to look into the Casa Central organization. It's a beautiful place. Their website is casacentral.org, O-R-G, and you could check them out on Facebook. They have a Facebook page. On their Facebook page, you should follow them. They have some great resources. They're also always hiring for home care aides, for drivers, and they need staff there. So someone that is looking to be employed, this is a great opportunity to get into this beautiful organization. I went onto their Facebook page and I found a post that I think they posted last week, and it said that they had a domino tournament with the participants that come to Casa Central on a daily basis. And the winners went home with trophies, and they went home with their very own dominoes, which is adorable. I'm sure they had a blast. I'm like, I want to play dominoes over there too. That sounds like fun. So check them out. They're amazing staff, beautiful people. They're very caring and loving. And Mireya shared all this information in Spanish. If you want your parents to listen in, if they're kind of unsure of whether they would want to do this, put the podcast on for them. Again, it's in Spanish, so they can listen to it and decide for themselves if this is something that they might want to do. Plant the seed so they can come get out of the house and go enjoy time with other people. That was episode 12. The 13th episode was with Jason Estremera, the executive director of Northwest Side CDC. And the CDC provides resources for renters and landlords, local small businesses to help them succeed. And they support the community through organizing residents and working to provide safe spaces for family and the community, to help them grow. So we talked about all the different things that Northwest Side CDC, their staff, the participants, the volunteers, all the things that they are doing to help those small businesses and to help with affordable housing. I know personally the impact because I see the things that they're doing all the time, and they're very, very entrenched in the community, just like Northwest Center. Northwest Side CDC is a subsidiary of Northwest Center, and they're nonprofit organizations. Honestly, their passion for their work is just incredible. And we also talked about their incubator space called Crecer. They are on Central Avenue near Belmont, and they have several shops in this space. They have an arts and crafts store. They have a bookstore. They have a jewelry store in there that does custom jewelry with copper. Beautiful. I've bought a couple of items from there. I've bought books from there. The books are in English and Spanish, and they're from local authors as well. So take a look at Crecer and stop in, have a cup of coffee. They have a cafe there. I think you would love it. Everyone there is so welcoming. They have a section where you could just sit down and have your coffee. They have some amazing churros as well. And I went with my mom about a month ago, and it was really nice. So Crecer. Thank you, Jason, Jessica, Maria, everybody, for all that you're doing at the CDC with Northwest Side in Belmont Cragen. You guys are amazing. That was episode 13. And thank you, Jason, for coming on and talking about all of that. Episode 14 was Mariana Karampoulos. She's with MK Law. She is a real estate attorney, among other things that she does in the legal field. And Mariana and I talked about the property tax appeals and how important it is to appeal your property taxes. We know that taxes went up substantially last year, and many people are getting those letters in their mail now from their mortgage companies. So listen, contact Mariana, and if you need help with that. There are nonprofit organizations that also do help you with property tax appeals, and I do mention that in the podcast. But if you need like additional help for other steps, Mariana is there to help you. And she talks about her fees. They're not high. They're very reasonable, actually, for the work that they're doing to help people with those property taxes. Her website is mklawchicago.com. And like I said, she doesn't just do real estate work, but I do refer her. I recommend Mariana to many of my clients that are selling and buying homes because I love the way she communicates. I love how detail-oriented she is with all the documents. And, that's really, really important. This is a very important transaction when you're buying and selling, and you want to make sure that you have a really great real estate attorney representing you. So thank you, Mariana, for coming on and talking about all those things. Very insightful. See you at the next closing, Mariana. Episode 15 was with KJones. KJones is my go-to photographer and videographer for real estate listings. And Keith and I talked about what a seller should do prior to having a photographer show up to do the photos and videos of the home, how to prepare the home, how to clean the home, how to organize inside and outside the home. And it's very important because when you want to list your home for sale, you want it to look as perfect as possible. So you could, bring in the buyers. And that's what we discussed on episode 15. Keith and I did. He gave some great tips. He does beautiful work. And he also does real estate commercial photos. He does portraits. He does headshots. I also learned he's a piano instructor and he's an actor. So he wears many hats. And he's a very good guy. I've known him for several years. As a matter of fact, he was referred to me by Robert Padron, the owner of Remax Cityview. And so I know he came highly recommended. So Keith, thank you so much for the excellent work that you do. Thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing all those great tips. And again, that was episode 15. If you're thinking about selling your home and you just want to kind of get an idea of the things that Keith mentioned, check it out. But also if you're looking for someone to do professional photography, maybe family portraits, he does that as well. Again, piano instruction, and he's an actor of all things, right? His website is KJonesPhotographer.com. Thank you, Keith. So as you can see, this has been a podcast full of education, resources, and more importantly, discussions with leaders and entrepreneurs who really put all their heart into what they do every day. And you could tell that they love what they do. So I want to thank all of the guests that have come on the show so far. I'm looking forward to bringing on more guests. I hope to continue to do weekly podcasts throughout the year of more nonprofit organizations and entrepreneurs who are leaders in our city, Chicago. That is an amazing city. If you're listening to this and you have not been to Chicago, come on in. Chicago is amazing. And in the summer, it's even more fun. We have festivals and concerts. We're by the lake, the most amazing museums and music, local music. You got to come out and enjoy everything Chicago has to offer. I've been here for most of my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So one more thing I wanted to mention, this podcast will air mid-June, and right after that is Father's Day. So I also wanted to say Happy Father's Day to all the amazing, loving, caring, hardworking fathers who are taking care of their children, taking part in their lives, and helping to build our youth to be responsible and loving citizens. Happy Father's Day to my brothers, my brother-in-laws, and of course, I want to say Happy Father's Day to my loving husband, Pete Cahigas. I love you, hon. Thank you for your love and support, for all the years that you've been with me, and for all the things that you do day in and day out to take care of me and to help us raise our wonderful sons. You are the best of the best. So happy Father's Day. So wherever you listen to, or wherever you watch Move Ahead with Dalia, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your continued support and your love. And I want to continue to make this an outlet for everyday people to learn about what is available to them, to you, to help you improve your life. Stay tuned for more upcoming episodes, and thank you for listening. Bye.